today. So talk about ions. Ions, as we know, are charged particles. This is the common definition of ions. You say ions are charged particles. So any chemical particle that carries charge, whether a positive or a negative charge, it is said to be an ion. So there could be elemental ions or what we call radicals. So, for instance, examples of ions are like sodium ion, chloride ion, triisonitrate 5 ion, etc., hydroxide ion, ammonium ion, tetraoxosulfate 6 ions. So, these are called ions. So, and ions have two types. You have the positive ions, then we have the negative ions. So the positive ions are also called the cation ions, and the negatives are called the anions. Example like sodium ion, calcium ion, copper 2 ion, etc. So example of negative ions such as chloride ion, oxide ion, hydroxide ion, etc. So these are ions, they are charged particles. So how are ions formed, especially elemental ions, atomic ions, like when ions are formed by loss or gain of electrons, an element, a neutral element or a neutral atom. Neutrally, normally an atom is supposed to be electrically neutral. Electrically neutral in the sense that it should possess neither charge, neither positive or negative charge. So, which means in an electrically neutral atom, the number of protons is equals to the number of electrons, so that the net charge is zero. But in ions, in charged particles are called ions, then these two are not equal. So it's either the electron is more than the number of electrons is higher than that of proton, or it is less than that of proton. So when the number of electron and the electron number is greater than the proton number, then you have a negatively charged ion will result. So which means the ion has more electrons than the proton. So because proton goes with negative, so proton goes with positive, electron goes with negative. When they are equal, by the time you add them, the net charge will be zero. But when negative is more than positive, the net charge will be negative. So then when the number of electrons is less than the number of protons, then it results in the formation of what? Positive ion. You understand? So because you have more positive than negative, then the net added, just like you have positive 3 plus minus 2, it gives you positive 1. So positive ions are formed then by when you have an excess of proton over the electron. So when an atom, how come about an atom that initially has equal number of proton and electron? How come about the atom getting more or less of the electrons? So it happens when an electron is lost or gained. So when an atom loses electron, so it becomes what? It becomes positively charged because there will be less of electron than proton. So it becomes positively charged one. So positive ions that are formed by loss of electron. For instance, we have sodium originally having 11 electrons. So if it loses this electron, for instance, it becomes 2,8. And now what you have is sodium positive. No, it is no longer sodium ion, neutral ion, because by the time it's lost one electron, then you'll be left with while the number of neutron does not change. Neutron is the resident in the nucleus, it doesn't change. The neutron remains 11. Then by the time you add the 10, the negative 10 of this, you're going to have positive 1 as the result. So the ion now becomes sodium positive. Then magnesium, for instance, has 12 electrons. So when it was neutral, it is 282. But if it loses this 2, the valent electron, then it becomes Mg28. So because it has lost 2 electrons, you have to give it a 2 positive. So loss of electron result in the formation of a positive ion, while gain of electron will result in the formation of what? Negative ions. Example, if I have oxygen, oxygen has 8 electrons, 2, 2, 6. So if it gains 2 to become 2, 8, then it now becomes oxygen with the 2 gains a negative because it's a gain. It's like the electron is borrowed. So you should not be surprised that when an electron loses, when an atom loses electron, it becomes positive. Yeah, because it gives out. But when it gains electron, it becomes negatively charged because gaining is like it's like borrowing. So it's a negative on you. So when atoms gain electrons, they become positively charged because they now have excess of negatively charged electrons over positively charged protons. But when they lose electrons, they become positively charged because they now have more of the positively charged proton over the negatively charged electrons. So the net charge will be positive. So loss of electron leads to formation of positive ion, while gain of electron will result in formation of negative ion. So this topic is important because of the subsequent topic we are going to be looking at, topics such as redox reactions, electrolysis, and what have you. So what you have learned is that an ion is a particle that carries charges, and it could be positively charged cations or negatively charged anions, and that uh, a positive ion is formed by loss of electron, and a negative ion is formed by gain of electrons. So when the number of protons and electrons in an atom are equal, then we have what we call electrically neutral atom. So the atom is neither electric, neither positive nor neutral. So I think here we are gonna stop it until the next topic. Inshallah. Thank you.